Hello, my name is Sam, or Nico, or whatever you want to call me. Just anything but Samantha Clark, or Sammy Clark. Um, my name used to be Samantha/Sammy Clark. I'm introducing myself and bringing up my dead name because it's kind of relevant to the story. And I believe I am still on Encyclopedia Dramatica as Sammy Clark. I don't know what I intend to get out of this little video. I think what I'm seeking is closure. Ultimately, I know the situation happened like over 10 years ago. It started out when I was 14 and I am 28 years old now. But I think the way I was treated by the community has kind of left a lot of emotional scarring on me, and it has caused a lot of emotional damage. So I guess I'd like to kind of address the community response and talk about my experience, because I never really got to have my say. When I tried to have my say, even people from the goth community on YouTube that I knew were saying that I somehow deserved it, or that I should have known what I was doing as a child. So let's go back to when I was 14 and I first entered the high school. I was in 8th grade. I had been in my computer lab, and at this point 8th graders were in the high school. So I was in 8th grade, I was in my computer lab class, and I was on my Facebook instead of doing my work. Surprise, surprise. I come across a Facebook profile with a very familiar profile photo of like a demon mask, and someone in this demon mask, and the name of the profile was Maverick Arson. And I was so excited. I either knew it was MDA himself or an MDA fan, so I added him. I found him through Stout's group. I don't know if anyone remembers official GATG or Stoutmeister. I was a member of that group because I was really interested in YouTube ranters at the time. I don't know why, but I was 14 in my computer lab class. Friend request this person who I think is MDA or someone who's a fan of MDA, and lo and behold, it's MDA himself. So I message him. I'm 14. He sends some kind of weird messages that I didn't register as weird at the time because I'm autistic. But yeah, he sends some kind of weird messages, but we become friends. And this goes on for some time. I have a few boyfriends in between ages 14 through 18, because I think when I finally blocked him I was 18. Now, when I met Mr. Maverick Arson / Matthew Karpolovsky, Matt Karp, iMustDestroyAll, he had told me he was 25 years old. I was 14 at the time. So already it's kind of weird, because what is a 25-year-old doing befriending a 14-year-old? I didn't think anything of it because I was 14 and autistic, and I thought this was normal. I was not just groomed by him. I came pre-used, pre-treated, whatever you want to call it. I was like a well-worn-in pair of shoes at that point, so that kind of behavior was somewhat normal to me. Now, between ages 14 through 18, I had a few boyfriends and even almost girlfriends. I was dating. I was a child that was dating. I guess it's normal to date when you're around that age. When this blew up, I had a boyfriend, and I'm sure people within the community know who it is, because every time I get harassed by these community members, they somehow bring him up and plaster his photos, even though he had nothing to do with this. And part of why I didn't want things to get out at the time is because during my relationship with this person, there was flirting between me and iMustDestroyAll / Matthew Karpolovsky. So yes, on top of the other stuff he had on me, like my dealing with addiction and my problems at home, and whatever else he happened to have on me that I was paranoid he would let get out there. I was not faithful to my at the time partner, and I really didn't want that getting out there and like losing my relationship over it, even though it wasn't a great relationship in the first place. So around the time I was 18, I started to realize that what I had been engaged in and involved in wasn't right morally. I met a person that went by Marbles, and if you don't know, Marbles was kind of the boogeyman in that community of people. Marbles had recently just had allegations at the time, and he was able to contact the alleged victims and like get statements saying that they didn't know what was going on and it was all made up or whatever had happened. I'm not quite sure what had happened. There's probably people who better remember what happened than I do. And I was somehow talking to him, and the subject of iMustDestroyAll got brought up, and the ranter community got brought up, and I just kind of let loose. Something snapped in me. I realized what I was involved in was wrong, and that something wrong had been done to me. I started gathering screenshots. I should have gathered more screenshots because I guess the account is now deleted and I can't find any messages from this person. But I digress. I started gathering screenshots. There was one in particular, one screenshot where he says, "Get older, sucka." And I said, "1 more year," because at the time I was 15, and I was under the impression that the age of consent in Ohio was 16. Now, I think I was 15 when I sent this, so I don't know. I think it was 2014, 2015 when that got sent. Either way, I was way too young, and this was a 27, 28-year-old man, somewhere around my age. So I gathered a few screenshots. I didn't gather more because I was quite embarrassed by what had happened to me. I also felt like I was responsible somehow, and that it was my fault, and looking further into it made me want to throw up. I wanted iMustDestroyAll exposed at the time. And I thought he could be exposed while keeping me anonymous. I don't remember what quite happened between me and Marbles, but I think I just freaked out and I wanted no part in it anymore. I thought if I just disappeared, it would blow over and I wouldn't have to be involved anymore, and that could be that. But I was wrong. Somebody who I had been friends with through Marbles reached out to me, giving me an ultimatum saying, let me use the screenshots and not hide your name, or send a screen recording of you going through the messages and your name won't matter, or I will send, I think her name was Heather, after you. So I panicked. I made a decision under duress, and that decision was to let them use the screenshots uncensored so long as I didn't have to be involved anymore and my family was left alone. Now, before then, I had tried to reach out to Stoutmeister or Andrew Stout, and I was told to contact a few of his admins in his group because I met MDA in this group. Oh, what? I don't have glasses on. I met MDA in this group, and so I was told to talk to these admins, and I guess they didn't keep me private. They told other people, even though they promised me they wouldn't, and it got chalked up to false allegations, and the optimists they were said it was a fake account at best or at worst, when this is an account that they would tag and post and like constantly interact with in the group. I think from November, when I came forward to Stout and his admins to January, he was still in that group, and they were operating as if the allegations were false and that I was a liar, or that the account that I was interacting with was a fake account. There were others who said it was photoshopped. And after me and Marbles came to that agreement that I made under duress, and like I blocked everyone, I tried to go to Stout and be like, look, this is what's gonna happen. They are coming after iMustDestroyAll, and I was made to make a decision under duress. And I guess there were messages between iMustDestroyAll / Matthew Karpolovsky and Andrew Stout. And I guess he victim blamed me, or there was messages about me. I don't know how those got out there, but they did. So the general consensus from that community was that I was a liar for the most part, and then more victims came forward and they believed me, but they didn't exactly treat me very good. Now, I guess there are a few deleted videos, or videos that got taken down, or like accounts that no longer even exist anymore, so I can't see exactly everyone who responded now, but there was one response in particular that just seemed very self-serving. I think the best I got was one person talking about the beef that he had with iMustDestroyAll that was completely unrelated to him being a pedophile. It was just, I feel so vindicated hating this person now because now it turns out he's a pedophile, and I just doesn't seem like the moves to be making when, you know, someone turns out to have harmed children. Maybe you should be like centering the children or the victims. But I guess I can't undo any of that. In the years that followed, I was still friends with some of them on Facebook, some of Stout's group. I guess I had become too feminist, and maybe I manic posted too much, and they assumed I hated men or whatever. I don't remember what exactly I posted. I posted some things during the peak of like my mental illness in like 2020 when things were really bad, and it was stupid shit, and they weren't exactly being understanding of the fact that I was like having an episode. So every once in a while I would lose more and more friends from that group because they would get mad at me for something I posted, and then like talk about how MZA was my boyfriend when he was never my boyfriend. I never even wanted to flirt with him. I had no interest in him. The only reason I was in that flirtationship is because every time I tried to set a boundary, he gaslit me and made me feel like I was a bad guy or like I was crazy. Or they just somehow bring up the MDA situation, and I just blocked more and more of them over time. And I think over the years, I only got an apology from one of the people that were involved. And I'm not going to name their name. They asked to not be named. I recently reached out to them via Instagram and said, hey, you fucked up. Either get off the internet or give me an apology. And so I got a genuine apology. They had said they hadn't reached out before because they didn't know if I wanted to hear from them. But I did want to hear from them. I wanted an apology and an acknowledgement that like something wrong was done to me. Because to this day, I still every once in a while get someone from that group saying that I deserved what happened to me somehow. Now, at this time, I think it's been a few years since I heard from many of them. I recently reached out to the friends I made through Marbles that I blocked. I got an apology from the one who delivered the message giving me the ultimatum. He doesn't remember what he said at the time. I think his messages on his end were deleted. So I guess I lied. I guess I got 2 apologies. But only one came from that group of people that like were the YouTube ranters. But yes, I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of YouTube ranters would be disgusted in public. about like what was done to me, but in private towards me were pretty shitty to me. And I would like to acknowledge that people can change, people can grow up. I would like to give everyone a chance to come forward and apologize to me. Like, I would genuinely like an apology. I know I won't receive it from most of you, but if for whatever reason I'm wrong and you do want to apologize, you're more than welcome to reach out, ask how to contact me, and you can apologize, because I'm owed a lot of apologies, especially from the main players involved. I would also like to talk to Marbles, but Marbles kind of disappeared from the internet. Like, I'm not mad at Marbles, but I would like to say, hey, it is a little fucked up that you couldn't keep me anonymous for whatever reason. I don't expect an apology from him. I just want to say, hey, that was a little fucked up, and I'd like to have a proper conversation about it now that I'm an adult and I'm kind of more mature than I was back then. Another point I really want to make real quick, because I have ADHD. It's untreated right now. I have a heart condition, so it's kind of hard to treat ADHD when you got a heart condition. There was an astounding lack of response and lack of coverage of my grooming and my groomer. I think Tamimi talked about it a little bit in a now deleted or privated video about her experience with MDA. Repsion was gonna cover it or whatever. I don't know what happened with that. Ultimately, what I found out happened was he made a video saying, if you're thinking of texting a child, don't do it. And he just left no clue about who that was about to like people who wouldn't have otherwise known. Just like general, like, a lot of ranters didn't cover it that I know of. And the ones that did, there were very few that I appreciated, that I've been able to look back on and like actually watch now that I'm not gonna have a panic attack about it. I think Eternal Sunny D covered it in a way that I respect. And I think that Undertaker Freak did it in a way that I respect. Everyone else kind of dropped the ball a little bit, if they even covered it at all. There were like several big players in that game that like knew about it that didn't cover it for whatever reason, because I guess it's more important to cover your eyes and bury your head in the sand when your friend gets outed as a pedophile who is grooming children and is actively like harming vulnerable people. Looking back, I didn't want to be named. I was kind of hoping people wouldn't cover it, but now that I'm an adult, and now that I've had some experience as an adult, and I'm kind of over like, okay, I got name dropped. It's whatever. I got name dropped. All of my issues are out there. People know that about me now. I'm looking back, and I wish people had covered it. They should have covered it, and they didn't, and a lot of people dropped the ball. There was a lot of lip service being played, like, on social media by some pretty important people, but those important people let, like, a pretty decently big YouTuber just get away with it without saying anything. Like, they'll play lip service and be like, oh, well, that's wrong. Pedophilia is wrong. And then when they have a chance to take any kind of action against it, they don't. It's just funny now. So the key takeaways are, I got groomed by a semi-big YouTuber. My mom didn't even know until just recently. The people involved in that community treated me poorly in the years following it getting outed. Even when they believed that it happened, they were kind of shitty to me. And at the time that it needed to be covered, a lot of people kind of dropped the ball on me. So I don't know what point I'm trying to even make. I guess what I'm trying to get is some closure and like put it out there that this happened to me. Because I don't think that anything can be fixed at this point. I think I just want a chance to finally have my say after all these years so I can put it to bed and be done with it.